All right, let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. Actually, for us, the First Friday Miracle edition of the program.
That's pretty good.
It works out pretty good. So, and by the way, this from the G-Man is spectacular.
It's great. Glad you enjoy that.
Do we have the other? So we have them both. We have them both?
Yeah, we have both of them.
A Zagura coffee cup collection
Who knew?
Of genuine facial expressions.
Real-time
captured on Cleveland
I'll have
Browns Daily.
items that nobody ever knew they needed or wanted for $500, Alex. Yeah.
We could also do the one that we like that they printed out all over, like one of those when you're all excited. I think that's a good one, like young Nate. Before you were even college football, Nate, at that point. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not bad. I was had a surreal experience last night. So we were watching the college football brackets being unveiled, which was fun. College football Nate was all over it. You had all of them. I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
So they were watching that, and then we were flipping to watch the election coverage. And Bootsy says to me, "Dad, what's the electoral college?"
Great question, Boots.
Well, why don't we have a little civics lesson for the next 30 minutes, boys, and let's go through it. And like the older two, NBC had a really good handle on it, pretty decent handle on it, as he should be. He's a seventh grader.
Yep.
Beamsy, tepid.
Okay.
In understanding, and Bootsy clueless.
Okay.
I had no idea. And as I started to go through it, like I almost got to the point of like being cross-eyed. Like, trust me, boys. This is, and it all works. It all works, man. But it was fun. Little civics lesson last night for the fellas.
I mean, at the end of the day, the founding fathers did not trust the masses.
Yeah.
And so this was their
This is the solution.
Safeguards in place.
I know that, and you know that.
Yeah.
But Bootsy did not.
Well, he does now.
He does now, baby.
Yeah,
he's got it sorted out. Yeah. That was a wild night. Yesterday, you had NFL trade deadline, which kind of whimper.
Yeah,
a little bit, nothing too big. You had the college football bracket, which was out, and then you obviously had election day as well.
You heard that on CBD yesterday.
You did, yeah. The one thing NFL trade deadline to me that I was interested in was the report from Diana Rossini that Carolina had fielded calls on Bryce Young.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
I'd like to know how close a deal ever got, if at all, and what the give back would have been on that, and what situations he could have potentially landed in.
That's one of those. Yeah, who called? What were the discussions? How close did it get? You don't get that though. You do not get that kind of information, and justifiably so. I mean, because Bryce Young didn't get traded, and so you don't want him to know what you are willing to part with him for.
I think it would have been, for an organization that's had so many missteps in the last couple of years, to bail on him now.
I know, but if somebody called and said, we're going to give you a 1, which I don't know that anybody would, then I bet they would have said, yeah.
Yeah, I think they would have had to, because I think the other thing you realize with him is that they traded for him at a time where the rest of their roster was not the such to bring in a first-round pick quarterback.
No,
there's no weapons. There's nothing.
No, they gave
he was
away
an outlier to begin with.
They gave away their best weapon as a part of the trade. This is the first time, I think, since 2001, I read that after the trade deadline, that every team in the league has their first-round pick.
Wow, that's something.
So in the next draft, there's no
two pickers.
There's been no draft, trades from before. This is the first year that every team will pick, as of now, as slotted.
That's pretty wild, because you think of the last 5 or 6 drafts, there's been multiple times where teams have two ones.
Multiple teams.
For
example, Houston.
Yeah, Houston's had a bunch. They've had that several years in a row.
The Bears.
The Bears. Was it Miami?
Miami.
Yeah. There's been a lot of those.
Who did the Niners trade with to get Trey Lance? Yeah, Miami.
Right. So they had all their picks.
Yep.
So there's been a bunch of those.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So everyone's going to have their own pick, at least for now, provided there are no other deals.
Which means it probably won't happen until I mean, there aren't going to be trades now.
No.
There can't be. So it would have to be a trade, draft day or leading up to the draft. You could see somebody jump up to the number one spot at that point.
Yeah, you could see something like that. I thought Pittsburgh, unfortunately, this will make Gibby happy, Pittsburgh had a nice day.
Mike Williams is an excellent addition.
And then they get Preston Smith as well.
So he hasn't been what he once was, but still accomplished veteran pass rusher that you would think in situational pass rushing situations, and it gives them an ability to do. Now, I don't know who would run from the inside, but it gives them an ability in pass rushing situation to have Cam Hayward, Preston Smith, TJ Watt, and Highsmith out there. I don't know if TJ Watt probably can come inside, but they are typically better suited. Alex Highsmith's definitely better suited to come off the edge.
Yeah, and I think you probably would have Smith in there, wouldn't you think?
Is he big enough? He's always been a 3-4 linebacker as well.
Yeah.
Let's see how big he is.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the difference in size.
Anyway,
but
but
either
still,
way,
sometimes you don't need to have it be that big of a person.
the reason that I liked
He's
it
6'5", 260. Yeah,
you should go in there. So I think the reason that what I say is exactly what you just said. If all of a sudden a guy has anything left in the tank, what could get that out of there? Looking next to Cam Hayward and TJ Watt and Highsmith.
Well, he said,
say let's go a little bit.
He's had at least 8 sacks in each of the last 3 seasons. I had a career high 12 back in 2019. This year, only 2.5. Only 4 quarterback hits through 9 games. Like, he'd been averaging 20 quarterback hits a season. So he hasn't performed at quite the level. Let me see if his play snaps are down. Yeah, he's only playing 54% down. Well, the year before he's at 66%, so not significantly. Just hasn't been quite as productive. But he's going to get nothing but one-on-ones. And yeah, why not? Why not?
What do you make of the timing of the NFL trade deadline?
It still needs to go back, I think, one more week. I think it needs to go back one more week.
Because we're about halfway.
Right. So
most of the time, all the other leagues, you're 2/3 in.
Yeah,
like this could go December or late
I think
November.
If you say it's a 17-game schedule, so 18 weeks are played, I have no problem being week 12. So that would push it back 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
And who's
right around
really
Thanksgiving.
in, out, it allows for all of that. So yes, agreed.
I think that's a sweet spot. And then I think you'd have more things done.
Of course.
Because really there wasn't anything. All the big stuff happened before.
Yep.
We moved Amari. You had Devontae moved. You had Hopkins moved. All of those things happened well in advance of the deadline.
Yeah.
So if you move it back 2 weeks, then you'd get a little bit more certainty because if you play the game and you go around the NFL standings, you say, who still thinks they got a shot at the postseason? Like, go to the bottom of the divisions.
Okay.
Jets. Yeah. I think they probably still believe.
Sure, and they're a team that easily could, if they don't have a few, then they could easily move right on from it.
Miami. They're 2-6.
That's a team that obviously I'm surprised that they didn't consider moving Tyreek Hill, or maybe they did. I haven't heard or seen anything about that. Obviously, there's we had the election last night, so there's not a lot of news outside of that. Yeah, but if they're a team that's let's say they get to 3-8 and it's over, for sure you have to think about things like that. Tyreek Hill, how old is Tyreek Hill?
Got to be approaching 30.
And still elite. It's just a question of is he something that helps you get better? And it does feel like if there's one thing that you can count on getting, every year in the draft is it's the wide receiver position.
Wide receivers, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, keep going. Yes, I'd say yes, they would be a candidate. The Jets are in just such a bad spot because it's an old quarterback. So like when you give up, it's basically you've given up completely.
Yeah, the other thing is that, as you're about to see, is there's a lot of under 500 teams.
Well, yeah, there's 9 2-win teams in the league, which is the most since the 70s.
Right. So that's a big part of it. So Jets, yes. Dolphins probably still yes too because they've only played 8 games. A lot of people have played 9.
Yep.
So they probably think, hey, we could win 4 straight and get to 6-6. It's not that hard. Us losing to 2-7, that makes it very, very difficult for us. Obviously, everybody else in our division would be an all-in. In the AFC South, I see Tennessee and Jacksonville are clearly done, but Indy is clearly in it at 4-5. And then in the West, it's the top 3 are all in the mix. Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs, obviously.
But for example, so like if I'm the Raiders, Jags, I like their young core, and maybe I'm just a sucker for it. I don't get why they're so bad. But if there was an older player on your team that you didn't think, but like I'm keeping Josh Hines-Allen, I'm keeping Brian Thomas, obviously. You're keeping Tank Bigsby. You're keeping Trevor Lawrence. You're going to keep. They did trade though, didn't they? Trade a tackle to the Vikings.
I think I did see that. Yeah,
Cam Robinson.
I think that did happen. Yeah.
Tennessee isn't a young. If you have anybody on your roster that anybody wants that's older, I would. I wouldn't. Jeffrey Simmons, I'd keep because he's just so good, but he might be the only person you have of value. Yeah, some of these teams just don't necessarily really even have that is the problem.
It's also that it goes to your point, though, and the point we're making about if you move this thing back a couple of weeks, then it becomes even more abundantly clear that you're out.
Yeah,
I mean, if the Jets were to lose their next two and get to 3-8, then okay, let's move anybody.
Tyreek Hill's going to be 31.
A little older than I thought.
Tyreek Hill, 8-time Pro Bowler in 8 seasons, 5-time first-team All-Pro in 8 seasons.
Yeah, he's a gold jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. In the NFC, it's way more complicated in the NFC because there's a bunch of teams. I mean, the whole NFC West is in it still, every single one of those teams. In the South, I think it's just Atlanta at this point. I guess you can't eliminate the Bucs, but that lead is more than 2 because obviously they swept them. Everybody in the North is still in it.
Yep.
And in the East, the top 2 are in it. And Dallas now has lost 3 in a row and doesn't have their quarterback, so they're cooked.
But they got Jonathan Mingo.
Do you think Dallas is angling to put themselves in a position with Shedeur? He's a Dallas kid.
Why would you give up that 4th, though? I just don't. I don't understand the trade.
Well, I'm wondering, could you put Dak in a trade?
Sure. I mean, no, probably not. In fact, let me recant that. No, I don't think you
because of the money.
You just paid him. Yeah. Hold on a second. I don't think it's feasible.
Yeah, is he even tradable? I mean, I'm just thinking of the teams that potentially could be in that top pick scenario. Like with the Vegas Raiders, rather have Shedeur or Dak.
Trade pre-June 1, so that would be they would have $103 million of dead money, then 61 of dead money, then 30 of dead money, and then 16 of dead money. The cap number is $337 million.
So no.
No.
So then I don't understand what the hell they're doing.
Base salary is $189. Prorated signing bonus is $145. Guaranteed's $50. Total's $337. So no, they would have dead money. I mean, you'd have $100 million of dead money next year, $61 million of dead money in 26. So yeah, no, I don't know.
So I don't know what they're doing then. I can't make sense of that.
If I'm reading this right, I don't know if I'm reading.
I think you are. You went to a good school.
Now that could be the 103 could be the total. Maybe you'd end up with $103 million of dead money total. 61, 33 is 94, and 16 be about 101. You wouldn't get any relief on it until 2028. So It doesn't really see. No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I just can't make sense of what they're doing down there. Andrew Berry had his press availability. We will have that for you coming up. We will guess the scores, and then we'll know the scores. Pay attention to the scores.
Oh, boy.
All in the same day.
And Gibbe's theory is now debunked.
It's been completely debunked.
Debunked.
We had does anything sum up, is this the most perfect summation of what college football is? This poll?
The colors?
No. The colors are beautiful. Just how nonsensical this was last night.
Yeah.
So they made Ohio State number 2. It means nothing.
No, because they're 5.
They're 5.
BYU is 4, who's number 9.
Correct. Miami is the 3, and they're 4.
Yep.
Yeah. The only thing that is noteworthy to me on this is the BYU Boise thing. And I won't go too far in the weeds on this just because I understand we're doing an NFL show. But if Boise State runs the table and goes 11-1, okay, and I don't know if they have a conference championship game in their league or not, but if they go 11-1 or 12-1,
yep,
and if the winner of the Big 12, if BYU, for example, BYU plays Utah this week, let's say they lose, and let's say the Big 12 winner is then below Boise.
Yep,
I believe Boise can get a bye and go all the way to being a 4 because it's the 4 highest ranked conference champions
It's not the automatic of those conferences.
No, it's the 4 highest ranked conference champions. So Boise State coming in at 12 is noteworthy. Now, Boise State lost to Oregon by 3, and they beat Washington State big time, who's 21st. It's Washington State's only loss. So that was the only thing to me that jumped out. Everything else kind of went according to form. I had a theory maybe they would swap Alabama and SMU just for dialogue and buzz. They didn't. They kept Alabama in. The glut of SEC teams starting with Alabama at 11, Texas A&M 14, LSU 15, Ole Miss 16 that all have 2 losses already.
Yep.
4 SEC teams are going to make the playoff. One of them's going to have 3 losses.
4 Big Ten teams are going to make it, right?
Unless Indiana falls apart. But Penn State's not losing the rest of the way. Ohio State, even if they lose one more, would be fine.
But Indiana
and
probably.
Oregon's in. Oregon's the safest of anybody.
Yep.
Indiana's got Michigan this week. I'm not sure who they have next week, and then they got Ohio State.
Who does BYU have left? Anybody?
They got Utah.
Who's fallen off the
But
face
it's
of the
holy
earth.
war game, too. Like rivalry games, crazy things happen. And then they don't really have anybody. Then they'll play a Big 12 championship game. Right now, that would probably be against Iowa State.
Yep.
So that's where that Boise State thing I was saying.
Have they
could
beaten
come into
Iowa
play.
State already?
No,
they haven't played.
They haven't played.
Got
No.
it.
That's the other problem. Some of these conferences are 18-team conferences, so these teams don't play each other.
It's ridiculous.
That's how like Indiana's 9-0 or whatever they are, but they haven't. Their best win is against Nebraska.
Right.
They don't have those quality wins that you're looking for on that side of it. I thought they did Army dirty too. Army's much better than the 25th ranked team in the country. They're a behemoth.
Colorado 20.
I think that's a little too high.
Yeah.
They get Texas. They're 6-2. They get Texas Tech this weekend. By the way, Clemson not back.
No.
As it turns out, young Scarlet not back.
The U.
Back. That's right. Back. All right, you're going to hear from Andrew Barry. His State of the State presser is coming up next. We are off and running on a First Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. We're brought to you by Valley Bet, sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Leaf Filter, the official gutter guard of your Cleveland Browns. Go to leaffilter.com/GoBrowns to schedule your free gutter inspection and to receive your exclusive promo offer. That's leaffilter.com/GoBrowns. Visit today. Now we head to the podium presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here is Andrew Barry's press conference from earlier today.
All right.
You guys are down.
Okay. Enter the bye week at 2-7. And it's obviously a disappointment, and we haven't played well enough. We haven't done the things that are needed to achieve consistent results and consistent wins throughout the season. It's disappointing for us internally, disappointing for our fans, and really all of us share in the record. It's not just our players and coaches; it's myself, it's our personnel staff, it's our research group, and our focus really this week is on doing the things that are within our control to play quality football through the last 8 weeks of the regular season, because we have not done that to date. Before I open it for questions, I know that there will be a lot regarding the 25 roster and decisions that are approaching. I always think that type of discussion reflection is more appropriate for after the season, and really our focus is on the next 8 games and playing quality football moving forward. So. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
This was a big year for Deshaun. Obviously, the injury has kind of derailed that. I want to know how do you assess how he played, though, before he got hurt?
Yeah, I would say, more broadly, Tom, we didn't play well. We haven't played well as a team, and we haven't played well as a unit on offense. And I think oftentimes when you don't play well on offense, obviously your starting quarterback and your play caller will get the most. You will get the most criticism. But the reality of it is, offense it comes down to organization and synchronization, and there's just a lot of shared ownership across the different position groups in terms of why we didn't perform.
Andrew, kind of off of Tom's question, it's been stop start with Deshaun over the entirety of his time here. How difficult does that make a true and accurate evaluation of the player and where and the projections of what he can do going forward?
Yeah, Chris. I mean, it's certainly less than ideal. Availability is a big part of it for any player. But again, it's also the NFL. Like you're at times not going to have all your starters in every phase. And our jobs is still to produce despite that. And at least through the first 9 games of the season, we have not done that.
Are you confident that you and Kevin, I know you guys are in the first year of your extensions, are you confident that you guys will be given the opportunity to see this thing through going forward?
Yeah, Mary Kay, I'll be honest, neither of us really think of it that way. I'd say, number one, to myself, I always view myself as a steward of the organization in this role. And really my focus is on doing the things that are in my control, short-term and long-term, to make sure it's in the best interest of the franchise. And I would say, to Kevin specifically, look, I think there are 13 coaches in the history of the sport to, win a Coach of the Year award multiple times. 10 of them went to a Super Bowl or an NFL championship. 6 of them won one, and 7 are in the Hall of Fame. And he's the second fastest to do it. Kevin's an outstanding coach, and he's absolutely part of the solution with everything.
Andrew, what was the driving force behind the off-season offensive coaching changes, and why were they necessary, and what can you say about the results considering this offense now ranks at the bottom in just about every meaningful metric?
Yeah, Darryl, I think probably quite candidly, it's probably a better question for Kevin as it pertains to his staff. I can tell you this, every decision that we make organizationally is with the aim of improvement, and doing everything possible that we can to sustain success and build a winner. So I'd really kind of leave it at that.
You mentioned Dorian, and there's some other young guys that have roles that might get bigger, especially with the Za'Darius trade. I think Isaiah McGuire is one of them. Is there a point in the season, though, at 2-7, where you're still trying to win games, you maybe shift the point of emphasis into seeing the development of some of these young guys, or seeing more playing time for some of these young guys that you have brought in?
It's a good question, Cam. Our primary focus every week is going to be to win, regardless of who is on the field. I think probably for every team, no different for us, there is going to be some natural transition every season, almost really regardless of your record, where there are players on the roster that get the opportunity for more of an expanded role. And I think probably a perfect example is said, right, where after we made the Amari trade to Buffalo, he was a player that we thought was ready for more opportunities, and he's responded quite nicely to the increased chances in the passing game. But the reality of it is, like, anytime that we have a player take on an expanded role, whether they're a young player or whether they're a mid-year vet, we're doing it with the idea that they're going to help us win games. If it's their first time in the role, that they'll improve as they go and help us win games, moving forward. But the primary focus is really to drive winning results.
In your 5 drafts, you drafted 1 quarterback, and that was in the 5th round. Are you feeling the urgency to use a high pick on a quarterback?
Yeah, I think, again, Tony, those will be that's a decision that we'll make in April every year. I think I've told you this before. We go into the college process as if we have an expansion team, so we do work on every position, and then we'll make the selections that are necessary, based on how the board falls, based on what we do earlier in the free agency period. But it's a long way away before we make those.
When you did the Watson trade, you explained that it was a 7-month odyssey. So you were working on that in November of the season. So we're in November. You got to be planning your strategy to get out of this mess at that position.
Yeah, Tony. So every year we actually, with the draft class, that's usually like a 18-month process. So like that's something we'll get familiar with them, really like as early as May. But it's a long process. Like it's not something that you're going to make decisions on in, November of the year.
1 minute.
The draft's next April. So we're doing a lot of work on the entire class, but we'll let the process play out before we make any decisions.
Andrew, can you take us through the trade deadline and what went through the process of getting rid of Z and the kind of how you guys are going to navigate the dead cap that comes along with that?
So I'd say with the trade deadline, I think you've heard me say that as a general manager that you're constantly balancing the short term and the long term, the present and the future.
30.
In terms of the Zarius trade, I guess it's maybe a little bit like what we talked about with Amari. It's not always about, let's say moving on from a vet. And some of those decisions are made with the idea that there are other players on the roster that, you do want to see in a more expanded role. Z played
10
ball for us. We were pleased with him. But every decision that we make, we think is in the best interest of the team, whether that's short term and long term.
Yep.
Jeez, this is a new coat. That's a new jacket. That's a new one. I haven't seen that. That's a chocolate. That might be a chocolate.
That is a chocolate. It almost appears to be leather, but it's not.
No, I haven't. That's
because
a new one.
It's the richness of the brown.
It is a luxurious chocolate, I would say. Maybe even espresso. It's not espresso. It's lighter than that. I think it's like a milk chocolate. Swag. God. Jeez. Running a business. That's all he's doing. I'm going to need to get his color on that. What it could be. It could be tobacco. Would it be tobacco?
Could be tobacco. I think chocolate. I think chocolate was
It's kind of
right.
milk chocolate is what it seems to me.
What about the tailor job on it?
Paint it on.
Paint it on.
That's it. Can you take anything from the trade deadline? Only the move is Adarius, and Andrew's presser today in terms of what is next for this franchise. Is that a loaded question? I guess this is my thinking, and then you tell me about this where you're at.
Okay.
I think what you're going to try to do here, the rest of this way, is see who on this roster can be part of a quick flip.
We went through
this.
This
isn't a rebuild. We went through it yesterday. This is that you're not tearing it down to studs. You don't need to. You got good framework.
Yep.
You got a good foundation. You got a bunch of young talent that's locked in. So now you just have to pivot to a new direction to do it.
And it can be turned around quickly.
It can be.
In the NFL.
Very quickly. There's no reason to go all the way to the bottom. You don't need to do that.
No.
It is.
This isn't the quarterback you have to do that in anyway.
No, it's not. And the other thing about it is like you will have to go into next season with another plan at quarterback. You have to. So they will have to address that position some way this offseason, because even if Deshaun comes back and even if he plays here again at some point, that's November. You can't go 9 games before he's cleared to play and build you just would never build a team that way. So you're going to address quarterback this offseason via draft, via free agency somewhere. And that's where you're at. And so this is a pivot to a new version of these Cleveland Browns.
Listen, the 24 season was supposed to be about one thing: winning the Super Bowl. And you'd say that's every team's thing, but it's not realistic for some teams. This team was built with that in mind: win the AFC North, win the Super Bowl. Here we are at the bye week. Those plans are scrapped. Just realistically, they're scrapped.
2-7.
They're scrapped.
Just own it.
So now, to me, yes, you want to play better football in 24 because stinking and losing begets more losing. So yes, you want to play better football. You want to win some games here in the second half. You're not tanking for draft position. There isn't, quite frankly, a player in this draft that is worth tanking for. And it's finding out who is our core for 25 and beyond. Who can step up? Cedric Tillman, we've seen him step up, for example. Can Isaiah McGuire now step up following the trade of Zadarius Smith, as we've seen? Can Mike Hall show that he can become, an Aaron Donald type of a player? Not to that degree, obviously, but that directionally. Those are all the things that you're looking at here. And then the question is DTR able to be number one? Could he be a short-term starter for you, or with the potential to grow into more? Or can he be your clear number 2 next year? That's it. I mean, that's what it is about. I think that everybody is frustrated. I think outside the building, fans are frustrated. Some are even, I would say, turned off completely. In the building, I know people are frustrated from the very, very top on down. This is not what this season was supposed to be. This is not who the 2024 Cleveland Browns were supposed to be, but it is who they are. And you have a major quarterback issue. And you do not have currently a solution. That's why I want to look at DTR. He's the only in-house solution that I see. And Deshaun, unfortunately, has never been able to make it through a season. He has not played necessarily in the top half of the league. He probably has not played in the top 3/4 of the league in his time here.
Yeah.
And so, and now he's coming off of another catastrophic injury. So I think you have to operate in a world in which DTR is the only potential in-house solution, and otherwise we need a big-time quarterback plan for 25 and beyond.
Yes.
That's how I would be approaching it. If there's something that happens and all of a sudden, Deshaun is back and he gets, my guess is he would, if he came back, he would be thrust into action. It would be a situation where something happened that gave him I don't think he comes back and is your starter.
No, halfway through the season. I mean, next
right.
year. There's just
so
no scenario.
If that happens and then all of a sudden, he's lighting it up and that's good, then that's one thing. But we got to deal with what we know and historically what everything is guiding us towards in terms of ultimate resolution of this situation, and act accordingly, to use your words.
This season was about doing everything this organization could to put Deshaun Watson and in hand this football team in the best position to succeed.
Yes, and unfortunately, you would have to categorize that as a failure.
Yes, it did not happen.
That did not happen.
No, and so
you're the worst offense in the league with him at the quarterback position. You got a glimpse of one game against, again, I think that was such a perfect storm game, that Baltimore game. The emotion of Jim, the fact you're going against the worst pass defense in the league that was the worst pass defense in the league at full strength.
Yeah.
That was without its top 2 corners. Dropped interceptions.
It's
all the perfect storm.
Divine intervention.
Yes.
But at the same time, so you gave it your best to make this work. It didn't, and now you have to pivot.
That's right.
And that's what I think this offseason will be about. Will be about pivoting into a new look for this operation. We will attempt to guess the scores coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Are you ready to give your home the facelift it deserves at Purdue Home Exteriors? They've got the deal you've been waiting for right now. No money down, 0 interest, 5 years, all roofing and siding jobs. Combine your roofing and siding projects, and Purdue will take an additional 5% off. That's right, no money down, 0% interest for 5 years, and 5% off if you knock off both jobs at once. Don't wait. Upgrade your home and save big with Renew Home Exteriors. Visit RenewEstimate.com to book today. Renew Home Exteriors, superior products and superior service. Time for a little segment we like to call Guess the Scores with Dr. Z.
All right, week 10. What are we at? Are we 3-7?
Last two haven't gone particularly well.
No,
the scores are going well. I haven't even looked at these yet.
Me neither.
Normally, I know you never do.
I never
normally
do.
At this point, I've had a chance to gaze.
I haven't
at
even
these.
come across anything.
So much going on.
Sometimes something will come,
All right, we start on Thursday Night Football. Bengals at Ravens. Bengals at Ravens. Thursday Night Football averaging 13.5 million. Highest it's been since it was on NFL Network this year. And this is a banger.
Bengals are favored.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to be favored by more than 3. I don't think it's...
Bengals at Ravens.
I mean, Ravens are going to be favored. I don't think that they're going to be favored by 7, though. So I think it's Vegas zony. I'm going to go Ravens minus 5.5.
Got it.
Wow.
6. All right, we head to Munich.
Careful.
Munich.
Hour 1 to hour 2, a lot can change.
The Germans. The G-Men against the Panthers.
Hey, Germany, here's a poop sandwich
Have
for
this.
you. Enjoy that. Here's your inmate game of the week.
This is a Rich Eisen, Kurt Warner, Jamie Erdahl,
I feel
Sarah
bad
Walsh
for
experience.
all of those people.
I don't. They're in Munich.
Go Munich.
They're going to go to Munich.
The Hoff had the best time ever.
Actually, I think the Hoff is there.
He probably is. I think he's
I
back.
think he and Colleen Wolfe. Hold on. Actually, I know they are. They're not doing anything on TV. They're the in-house MCs. Like
Hoff
in
is an
between
MC?
like commercials and like
At the
they're doing like a
Allianz?
pregame show in-house. And
Hoff
like a
is
halftime
going?
Show.
Hoff's
I believe
in
Hoff
Germany.
is
I think
going.
he is too. I remember him saying that. Yeah. This is at the Allianz. All right, go ahead. G-Men at Panthers.
Enjoy the schnitzel.
Or verse Panthers. I like a schnitzel.
G-Men minus 2.5.
G-Men minus 6.
Excuse me. Come on.
All
I
right.
do tend to agree with you, Z.
We are to Sunday. We start in Chicago. The Patriots at the Bears. The Drake May, Caleb Williams game.
The reeling
Drake
Chicago
May
Bears.
Chicago
versus
minus
Caleb
3.
Williams. Bears minus 6. That's robust. All right. Bills at Colts. I have no idea if Andrew Catalan is from Buffalo, but it seems to me like he is. I don't know if he is.
from New York.
Is he?
Yes.
That's amazing. I had no idea. But every time I feel like he seems to me like he like lives in Buffalo. Andrew Catalan feels like that to me. It's him and Tiki and Jason McCourty on Bills at Colts.
Bills minus 6.5.
Bills minus 14.5.
Excuse me?
I'm kidding. You said 6.5? It's 4.
How is that one 4?
I don't know.
And
I think it's going to weigh 14.5.
Hold on,
Almost more
what-
believable than 4.
it is.
That's what I think. Yeah, it's 4.
So Andrew Catalan actually was born
So hold on.
in
The
New
Bills
Jersey.
are favored by
But he went to Syracuse and lives in New York.
the
See, there you
Bills are favored by fewer points, granted on the road,
Yeah. Then the Bears.
than the Bears at home or than the G-Men,
The G-Men.
over Carolina, who just beat New Orleans
That's right.
on a neutral field.
That's right. Yep. Fair. Yep.
So if home field still were 3, you're still saying the Bills are only 7 better on a neutral field. The Bills would be favored by 7 over the Colts. What?
Yeah. I don't know.
The Bucks were just 9-point dogs against the
Kansas
Chiefs.
City, I know it. Speaking of the Chiefs, Kevin Harlan on the call with Trent Green
Okay.
for the Broncos at the Chiefs.
They get a lot of Chiefs games, that crew.
Denver was just a 9-point underdog at Baltimore and got
They were.
smoked. And
That's
now they're
true.
playing the only undefeated team in the league.
Yeah.
If
They
it's less than 9, I'm going to be furious.
Uh-huh.
Kansas City minus 9.5.
Kansas City minus 8.
What are we doing here?
What
This
are
doesn't make any
we
sense.
doing here?
I would get it that the Ravens, that they think, even though the Ravens lost to the Chiefs and the Chiefs are the only undefeated, I could understand why the Ravens would be a point better in their minds. But when you put Denver on the road in that situation against a, let's call it a comparable opponent, and it was what, 41-10?
41 to yeah, right.
You don't take a point off of that when you're playing the Chiefs. Now, do the Chiefs blow people out? No. But it should have been 10. That should have been a 10 point
I think
line.
your number was the right one. I think 9.5.
Well, I thought 9 or 10, but that's where it had to be.
Yeah. All right. Falcons at Saints.
Well, given that we're going nuts right now,
I mean, this is
Atlanta -10.
Stop it.
That's not a joke.
Oh, my God.
Falcons -3.5.
What?
It's all over the place, brother.
What are you talking about? The Saints just lost
I know.
at home
to Carolina. Bryce Young, yep.
They're thinking the Falcons are going to pick this week to be gutless.
It's a division game. They're not going to be gutless.
I hadn't seen these until we started doing this. I have a similar reaction to you to these numbers.
How in the world are the Falcons against the Saints a smaller favorite than New England,
Chicago,
and
the G-Men.
And the G-Men in Carolina.
Yeah. Honestly, even a smaller favorite than the Ravens and Bengals. The Ravens are favored by more against Cincinnati. Yeah. I don't know.
They're viewing Buffalo and Indy and Atlanta at New Orleans as almost the same game?
They are. Yep. 49ers at Bucks.
Is that the whole it's coach's first game, we're going to go win it for coach, and then you're going to lay an egg the rest of
I don't
the
know.
year. I mean,
I
fine,
don't
get
think
that
these-
out of your
these are
system
really-
so we can smoke you in 2 weeks.
I don't know. I thought I had a theory a couple of weeks ago about what was going on with these. I don't anymore. I think this is pretty wild.
This is going to be very hard to do.
49ers at Bucks.
By the way, we have to keep the scores on these numbers.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah,
That's what we're doing.
You have to.
Yep. I have a sheet for you.
All right.
Niners at Bucks.
Tom Brady game.
Yeah, this is Burkhardt.
If Brady doesn't do the Cowboys, he's doing the Niners.
He's done a lot of Niners, yeah.
This should be Niners -3.5. It's going to end up being different than that, so I'm going to just, who cares at this point? Screw it. Niners -7.
Niners -5.5.
Okay. Right in the middle.
Steelers at Commies. Fun game.
Commies -3.
Nailed it.
Because that makes sense.
Yep. Vikings at Jaguars. Vikings at Jaguars.
Vikings -7.
Vikings -4.
Okay, the Jags have been, the Jags were just 6-point dogs to, who they
last week.
To who?
Philly.
Philly.
Actually, I think it was more than that. I think it was 6.5, or was it
7.5? It was 7.5.
7.5, buddy.
It was 7.5. I have it on my sheet right here.
7.5. That's crazy. All right.
There's another coffee mug expression. There's been a few on this
segment alone. All right, 4 o'clock window. Titans at L.A. Chargers.
Chargers -7.
Got it. Chargers -7.5. Philly at Dallas. This is the Nance Romo game. Dallas is not starting Prescott. It does. There's no Prescott. They've lost 3 in a row, and this is still America's game of the week. Eagles, boys. Big D. They should have done.
Philly was just 7.5 at home.
They should have made this Steelers and Commies.
Yes.
Should have been this game.
Eagles -7.
Nailed it.
Jets. I mean, is this the biggest spread week ever?
Total?
Yeah.
Overall, it could be.
Could be. There's not a huge one out there.
There's only been maybe 1 or 2 threes.
There was a while where everything was 1.5, 2.5.
Yes, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Okay.
Jets at Cards.
Arizona -2.5.
Arizona -1.5. Sunday night football.
Is it a good one?
Not if Nico Collins doesn't play.
He going to play, isn't he?
Lions at Texans.
Is he going to play?
I don't know. Schefter said this morning that leaning no. I know.
This segment has made me very happy.
Yeah, I know you'd
It
like
was
this.
supposed to be a 3-week injury. They put him on IR caution. He's had no setbacks. I thought he was good to go.
Yeah.
He should be practicing today.
Schefter said watch the practice report, but his hunch is they would wait another week for Nico.
They're playing the Lions.
Yeah,
What do we have to? What do you have to wait for?
I
All
don't
hands
know.
on deck.
All hands on deck. The Leos
At the Texans.
at the Texans.
Lions -4.
Got it. Lions -3.5. Finally, Monday Night Football. Miami at Ramit.
Gross.
Rams -3.
Rams -2.5. You got it. Nice little rally. You got 4 your last 5.
6 and 8. Yeah.
Yeah, you got 4 your last 5. This is by the way that it shook out. We're off. The Packers are off. The Raiders are off. And the Seahawks are off as well. I thought I had a decent idea about what they were doing. You know, in the old days, it was home 3, standard 3, and then build everything off of 3.
Yeah.
And then I think they changed it to 2.5. It seems like this year, maybe 1.5. Like home was only worth 1.5. This week's are pretty wild, though.
Yes.
They're really like there's so many where you could say, well, they must know something.
Yes. Yes. Some of these lines.
Somebody's got to know something to think that this is going to go the way that it's going to go.
Yeah.
It's a big one on Thursday. The Munich game is brutal that they give them that. I mean, at least give them a rivalry game. Who the hell wants to see Carolina play? The early window, Steelers commies, man. You could probably take a little bit of a football vacation if you want in the early window.
Yeah.
You want to go to a fall festival or something like that if those are still operational? Most of those kind of stopped around Halloween. But you have that's a Sunday morning that isn't early afternoon that's not great. I got the first games for Bootsy this weekend. His first ever competitive games. He's got 2 of them.
Yep.
Hoops.
Yeah. Double hitter. We got Nordonia and Strongsville. Unleashing the boots.
Man.
First time out. See if he's a little floor general. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the primetime games aren't great. I'll be honest with you. This is not a great NFL weekend.
Love Thursday night.
Thursday night's the best game.
Thursday night's great.
And Steelers commies.
Sunday night's great.
So if Nico's not playing, it's not. Yellowstone comes back Sunday.
And it's the finale of
Penguin. So you got both of those.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, you can maybe take a little break.
I wonder what game we'll get here at 1 o'clock on Sunday. I'm assuming we'd get Pukers and Commies.
You'll get Pukers and Commies. Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance you're going to go Bills, Colts.
You'll go Steelers, Commies into Eagles, Cowboys, and then the Fox game will be Niners, Bucks, because that's your national game. There's nothing on Fox that's like a regional poll at all. I mean, they're not going to try and give us the Bears because we're both in the Midwest. I don't think so. I would think they'd get you. I think you'd get Niners and Bucks. Is probably the way that would go. Browns fans, this month's winner of the local business platform presented by Minuteman is Stakes Manufacturing. Stakes Manufacturing, full-service print-on-demand company located in Eastlake. To learn more, visit clevelandbrowns.com/community/local business platform. Second hour of the program coming up next. We will lead it off with a little college football. Nate, you ready, dude? Scores as well. Fantasy Minute. So much fun. Final hour. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Howard Hanna, the official real estate provider of your Cleveland Browns. When it comes to buying and selling, you need a reliable team to guide you through the process. As the market leaders in Northeast Ohio, more buyers and sellers trust Howard Hanna to be their home team. Save time and money. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today. Time for the segment that is sweeping the nation and the college football world at large. College Football Nate is back.
Let's go, baby. See if
Like,
I get some more.
Nate Feinbaum.
See if I get some more hot takes that are just so happen to be spot on.
Spot on takes.
I mean, we did a little
Locked in.
yesterday preemptive,
Locked in.
but I'm like, we still have to do the regular segment. I feel
agree.
like.
I agree.
It's crazy, and I'm gonna make two statements. The first is my college football consumption completely unchanged as College Football Nate. Has not changed from before College Football Nate was born. Exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Basically zero.
Don't need to tell them this.
I think it's great.
And yet,
Yeah.
I feel like I know more about college football than I ever have.
Yeah. I do think there's probably some osmosis that slips in sitting next to me.
Sure, but you've always sat there.
No, but now we're doing this segment,
Yeah.
and so I think that you're a very smart human. You're a great thought partner, and I think
You are.
and I think what you get out of that is sometimes
There's no doubt. But I'm
that
answering
happens.
before you say anything.
You are, but we also were doing this in the first month, and so you had a nice baseline of things to work off of. And then the
Listen,
other thing
if you
with
want
college
to
football,
belittle my
I'm
accomplishments,
not.
that's fine.
I just called you a great thought
If
partner.
you
And I
don't
said
know,
you're
it's okay.
superior intellect.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what I need.
Okay.
What
All
more do I need to say?
Listen, I'm not saying I'm not standing on the shoulders of your greatness.
No.
But
you're completely operating independently, and I think it also speaks to, if all else fails in college football, be bat blank crazy, because
right.
that's part of it too.
well, and it's an unfair system, so it's very easy.
ridiculous
It's very
system.
good to know who's good. Like,
Yeah.
you know who's good. The one thing, like, if you could have taken this list and maybe not in this order, and with the exception of, and I'm gonna try to college football Nate, with the exception of Oklahoma, who I don't see, USC,
Yeah,
who I don't see. The rest of it all, yeah, sure. Like,
USC
could have been.
just benched their QB.
they
today?
did.
It could have been any. This could be any year.
The
Wash-
outliers.
Where's
would
Washington?
Be,
Where's Washington? Would be
the outliers would be Indiana, BYU.
Yep.
SMU is new to this, although
Yep.
they're old a long time ago. Everybody else are usual suspects.
Right. Army probably being top 25 is
that usually doesn't happen. But
no. But and then the usual suspects that are gone would be Oklahoma,
yeah,
Washington,
Florida State,
Florida State. I had another one that I had said, but
Michigan.
Oh yeah, Michigan. For
E
sure.
ESPN.com's bottom 10. Florida State, obviously. Kent State, who hasn't won a game yet. G-man. Clemson was in their bottom 10 this week,
Like,
even at
Clemson's
6-2.
still here though.
Those are the ones: Florida State, Florida, Michigan, USC, Oklahoma. Like, those are usually
USC. That was the one.
Those
USC.
are usually
Yeah,
somewhere in
right,
the top
yeah,
25.
exactly. Okay.
and they're nowhere to be found.
All right. What do you got for me?
Hit it, Carmen.
First down.
As of today, would you take the Big Ten or the field to win college football's national championship? Nate Feinbaum in the front row.
So this is a tough one for me because I feel like currently the two easiest paths to the finals or to the semifinals, let me rephrase that, to the semifinals belong to Oregon and Oregon State. However, it feels very likely that is going to be a semifinal, and thus only one can make it. Like, you're not going to have an
Okay,
you're not going to have an Ohio State.
Did you say
Oregon.
Oregon State?
Oregon, Ohio State.
Okay, there you go. Just wanted to help you out. I'm just telling you,
How dare
if
you
I
question
play the
college
tape,
football, Nate?
if we play the tape
How
back,
can he
you
question
did say
college football,
Oregon
Nate?
State.
Listen, I have a great respect for the Beaver. Brandon Cooks, fine receiver, wanted him back when in my 2014 scouting days out of Oregon State.
they got
great,
two. They
great
got two
unis.
great looking beeves. There's the new beav, which is a little bit more of an aggressive beaver.
Yes,
and then they've got like the folksy beaver,
which is old school.
who's a great looking beaver.
It's also a good basketball arena from back.
It's a great
in the day.
Gary Payton.
Yeah,
Come on, black
Yeah.
and orange. Everybody wins at that.
exactly.
I mean, it's rare to see a ferocious beaver, but they've got the one they have now is a ferocious beaver.
Well, look
So
out.
by the way, Washington State plays those beavers.
Look out. The Cougars.
Cougs. Cougs. That's right.
All right.
All right.
See,
so
Gibby, see what
doing?
you've done
Look
by
what you've done.
by actually having your
I think I've
microphone work.
enhanced the segment.
Yeah.
By the
Yeah.
way, if we go back
What was
and
this
listen,
question?
you definitely said Oregon State.
This
That's
was the
fine.
field or the Big Ten, right? Is that
Field
what
or
you're
Big
at?
Ten. Yes.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Go back to so
Field or Big Ten.
here's the thing. As it stands right now, based on what I said earlier, I'm saddened that I don't think there's a scenario as it stands right now where I could get an Ohio State-Oregon final guaranteeing a Big Ten champion.
Here's how you could get one. Ohio State wins out. Oregon wins out. Oregon beats Ohio State again for the Big Ten title. Ohio State has 2 losses. Ohio State then becomes the 7 or the 6. Texas becomes
Then
the
you
5.
could do it.
Then you could do it.
As it stands right now, they would play each other in the semis.
They would, but there's no scenario. The only way that this could happen to where one would be the 1 and one would be the 5 is if Ohio State beats Oregon in the Big Ten title game, and Ohio State becomes the 1 and Oregon becomes the 5. There's no
Which
other
feels
scenario.
quite
very real.
reasonable.
Very real, yeah. Therefore, you could no longer choose the wine in front of you.
No, because at the same time, I feel like that's a scenario that guarantees me a Big Ten team in the final.
Mm-hmm.
I would say historically, of course, you wouldn't do that. But when you've got 4 of the top 8 in this rankings right now in your conference, why not? Like, Georgia makes me a little nervous. Texas makes me a little nervous. Rocky Top, love them, but I don't think they're winning the national title. And I don't think the U's winning the national title. So, final answer, I would, if it was even Steven money, I would take the Big Ten.
I'd take the field. I think there are 5 teams going to win a national title. 3 of them are in the SEC.
Georgia,
Texas,
Alabama.
Yes. Now, Alabama might not make it. It might be LSU instead
And
of
the other
Alabama.
5, you believe,
the other
are
2
Oregon.
are Ohio State and Oregon.
Oregon. Okay.
Because the depth of talent you're going to need to be able to pull this off, it's extraordinary.
Here's the thing: if you get
These are
this scenario,
Miami's a
though,
one-trick pony. I mean, they're just
if you get the scenario as it is now, so say Ohio State beats Oregon, and you get
flipped.
them,
Yeah.
you don't have to play. Now, Oregon will in its first round, but Ohio State would not have to play an SEC team. Ohio State feasibly could get there without
Ohio State
having
was
to.
here.
If Ohio State's 1 and Oregon's 5, Ohio State will probably have to play one SEC team
in the quarters.
the quarters, but then not. And the 5 seed actually has the easier path. The 5 seed would never play an SEC team.
The 5 seed has the easiest path in the whole operation.
And so you're saying Ohio State has no possibility to remain in the 5 seed. They're either going to beat Oregon
and be the 1,
or they're going to lose to Oregon and then be
down here.
And
then Penn State will move up to there.
Penn State could move to the 5?
Texas. Texas would move to the 5. The second place team in the SEC will move to the 5. Especially
all right, so here's what I would
loss.
say. If I had a crystal ball and I knew that Ohio State was going to beat Oregon in the Big Ten championship, I would take the Big Ten. If I did not know, if that does not come to pass and Ohio State has to drop down to middle, I will take the field.
Right.
Even though that's the only way to guarantee yourself a Big Ten final.
It is. Yep.
Next.
Second down.
Discussion. An understanding of brackets.
Time to guess the spread, kids. Buckeyes with a tough one this week against Purdue. It's at home, right? It's in Columbus?
It's at home. It's big noon, sir.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's big noon.
Ohio State and Purdue is big
Joel
noon.
and Gus, big noon.
This feels
is
like
it a bad
question
week for college football?
Nate.
If this is a bad week top to bottom for football and we're on the damn bye.
No, there's good SEC games. LSU plays Alabama and
3.
Georgia plays Ole Miss. There's some good SEC games. It's just there aren't any good Big Ten games this week. They were Oregon, Michigan plays Indiana. That probably should have been big noon, but big noon probably didn't want to go back to Indiana because it doesn't rate. So Ohio State will get them $3 million playing at noon.
Yeah,
that's
Ohio
it. Ohio State's
Purdue.
going to play. I believe they're going to play 6 straight noon games to end the season. I think Indiana's going to be noon too. They're noon next week against Northwestern. Then I think it'll be noon Indiana for big noon, and then Michigan's big noon. Noon's tough, man.
All right, so this is Purdue.
Purdue is 1-7. The
Boiler
Buckeyes
makers.
are 7-1.
And
Trap
we're doing
game?
guess the spread.
Guess the spread.
You know what? Lazy. This is lazy. Second down. You picked up 7 on first down, and now you're just like, we're burning a play.
G-Man.
I wrote the question.
Exactly.
Oh,
gee,
give it.
this does not have the air of G-Man at all.
Leave the G-Man
What is this going to be,
out
like
of
minus 30? I don't know.
I think like 28.5.
Okay,
like that.
so I was with.
All right.
You're going to be in the
ballpark.
vicinity. This has happened against Rutgers twice. It's happened against Maryland a couple of times.
Is this available, this information?
It happened to Indiana. There's 5 or 6.
38.
38?
38.
Jeez. It's
Why
happened.
was second down. It's a conversation
Closest
piece.
but
I've done
under.
my job.
Closest but under.
Good job out of you. This big of a spread this late in the season has happened more often than you'd think because they always have these garbage. By the way, it could be this big again next week at Northwestern. They're playing at Wrigley.
Come on, man.
Ohio State is playing Northwestern at Wrigley next Saturday.
Come on, man.
What are you even doing here?
All right, good. Second down, wash. Let's go to third
Next.
down.
Third down.
So the money down.
If it comes down to it, would you take a 3-loss SEC team over a 2-loss Penn State team for the college football playoff?
1,000,000,000%. Penn State has the same chance to win the national title as I do, as you do, as that garbage can right there does, because they have the worst big game coach in the history of college football, the major program. And as long as Franklin is the coach of Penn State, they will never win a Big Ten championship, and they will never win a national championship.
Amazing out of college football, Nate. It's amazing. Stop short of calling him a coward, but other than that, beautiful.
I didn't need to say it. It's known.
You nailed it.
So, yeah, and I think that would happen. Penn State cannot lose again. Neither can Indiana.
I don't want them in anyway. I want them to lose. They have no business in this.
If Penn State's best win is probably the win at USC.
They're fraudsters.
What is Penn State? What's the rest of their schedule?
There's
G-Man
nothing
and I
on
were
it.
going over there.
There's
They
nothing.
How many
play anybody.
offensive points did they produce against the Buckeyes?
6. Here's the rest. They go Washington this week, then they're at Purdue, at Minnesota, and Maryland. So they're going.
I
they're
need
gonna go
someone to
11-1.
beat them.
Come
Let's
on,
go
Terrapins.
Minnesota.
You guys got it. Now, this is the difference between a
Row the
Big
boat.
Ten mentality and an SEC
Look at this guy.
mentality.
Look at his hat. Look at the
Look
lid.
that guy. I even used to seeing him in a lid.
I know.
Not back. Not back,
Not
though.
back, no.
The SEC would be doing the opposite. They would be saying, bolster Penn State. Bring them in. Big, big, big. Big Ten likes to eat our own. Yeah, they've got to win out. I'll tell you who else. Indiana can lose to Ohio State, but they better not lose to Michigan. They got Michigan this week, and they should hammer them. They're big favorites in that one. They should hammer them, but Indiana does not have a single win on their schedule that you would go, oh, nice job there.
They're
not one.
15-point favorites against Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Michigan cannot throw the ball forward.
it's unbelievable.
I'm not sure Penn State. I think Penn State has a quarterback that can, but the coaching staff doesn't allow him to.
College football Nate's
They're
got a
cowardly.
question. I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this Michigan team the worst team in recent memory
Defending
after defending a national title?
2020 LSU was really bad after Burrow.
After Burrow left. Were they 5-5 bad? And
I think they were.
we're talking, this is no offense. The Big Ten is awesome for sure, but they shouldn't be 5-5 yet when they haven't even played the Buckeyes.
No. All right. 2020 LSU. This was the year that got Orgeron fired. They were 5-5. Oh, because it was COVID. They were 5-5 in 2020.
So they could be worse because this team could end up, if they lose this game to Indiana, they're going to lose to the
But
Buckeyes.
I don't think Michigan fan cares. They got their championship.
They don't care, nor should they. They're going to
Florida
hold on
the
a second.
year
They're
after
going to end up with a
Tebow.
losing record.
No, that wouldn't have been the net because they didn't win it as last year. They won it.
They're going to end up 500. If they lose to Indiana, they're going to end up 500. They're going to go 6-6.
Yeah.
Because they're going to lose to Indiana, beat Northwestern, and that might not even be a lock. And then they're going to lose to Ohio State.
Yeah. Yeah, very likely. No, it's one of the worst. It's also, I think what they're doing is saying, like, we'll take it on the chin this year. Like, they didn't even try to get anybody in the portal.
Nope.
Sharon Moore, if they get hit by the NCAA, he could be the sacrificial lamb. That's easy. I think for them it was kind of, I've been saying all along, it's Danny Ocean. Like, they won, and they're like, we're good, man. Take this year. See on down the line.
Final down.
Okay.
Fourth down.
If your team doesn't end up being one of the 12 teams to make the college football playoff, would you rather your team play in the Bahamas Bowl, January 4th in Nassau, or the reinvented Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice on December 28th?
So you're in, I'm guessing the Gin and Juice Bowl is being played, is that Tempe or is that?
Is it Tucson?
I would think, is it Tucson?
Where are they playing?
It's got to be Tempe.
Gabe thinks it's Tucson.
It's Arizona?
It's at Arizona.
Oh, my God. Absolutely. Go pay some respect to Zago. They got supposedly
They have Dove Mountain out there somewhere?
Dove Mountain. Yeah, Dove Mountain. They've got
We've scouted that for OFs?
Yeah, they've got the number one Michelin star rated, I guess, taqueria in the country. Is a lady who was out on Top Chef out of Tucson that I'd like to go
do
wet
that.
my beak on.
Wet your beak on that a little bit.
Yeah.
I would do that too because I've never been to Tucson.
And Snoop's going to be there.
And Snoop's going to be there. He's a friend. He's a great friend of the program, Mr. Dog.
Dude, they're selling merch for this.
And I've been to Nassau a couple of times, so I don't need to.
By the way,
and I like Nassau. It's great. I love it.
Has Bootsy asked you about Snoop?
Mr. Dog?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
He's in Fortnite right now. He is,
oh yes,
he's the main.
I didn't know the. I didn't understand.
He's the main guy.
I didn't understand the point of reference.
Yeah.
Yes, he was so excited. I think it was over the weekend. He
it started on
downstairs.
Saturday, November 2nd.
Dad, Mr. Dog's on. He's on Fortnite. He's Snoop
Midas.
Dogg. I'm
He's
in.
like
I'm like, I don't know what this means, but you're very excited.
It's the main part. First of all, they brought back one of the great maps of all time. It's Chapter 2, and he is in the role of Midas. They did like a Bond one, and he's in the main bill. It's called the Dog Pound, right in the middle, and he's there.
He was very excited.
Oh, dude, he's great.
Yeah.
I sent you the logo for the Arizona Bowl. It's pretty darn good.
It's not even a question. This is exactly where we're going. It's a beautiful logo.
That's beautiful. Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. How would any of us, because we're all old enough to remember.
I mean, and look at the Suarus on there.
Mr.
It's
Dog
gorgeous.
at his best. Like, how would you explain to like 16-year-old you what has become of Mr. Dog? That he comments on the Olympics, that he's on The Voice, that he's got college football bowl games named after him.
Hold on a second.
You could never wrap your head around it.
It's
crazy.
Arguably, his best friend and business partner on the planet was Martha Stewart.
Also true. Yeah.
Get your head around that.
All of that.
No, could not.
Impossible. There's a lot of those from our youth. Though.
I mean, the
There's several of
incredible,
those.
his video, you can't even say the name of the album, but his What's My Name video where they like morph into dogs. I mean, you think about the technological advancements that have been made and special effects since then. Come a long way.
Very
That was
good.
what, 94? Yeah, 94.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah,
93, 94. Yeah.
Chronic was 93.
Yeah.
At one point, he was facing a murder charge.
That's also true.
It was the case that they gave him.
That's true. It was. We'll do your fantasy minute coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Bo here for my friends at Jim Beam. What do sports and Jim Beam have in common? Both are better when enjoyed with others. So grab a bottle, gather your friends, and enjoy the game, because with Jim Beam, you come as fans and you leave as family. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2024 James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. Drink smart on that side of things. Time for your Fantasy Minute, presented by Scaleco, proud capital investment partner of your Cleveland Browns. The thing you're watching right now is health. Who's in and who's out?
Yeah, health obviously matters. You're going to get, and there are a lot of people that you want to have playing that might not this week that you're going to have to keep an eye on. But let's just go through. We're going to go position by position. We're going to start the quarterbacks. If you need to stream somebody this week, guys that you potentially, because we've got Jordan Love is off.
Yeah, you got
Green Bay, Seattle. Geno Smith, who I think leads the league in passing yards.
Yeah.
So if you needed a quarterback this week, Daniel Jones against Carolina, Tua against the Rams should be a high-scoring game. Justin Herbert's back fully. He's on a lot of waiver wires. I'd get Justin Herbert and feel very comfortable playing him as well. All right, let's look at the running backs. And again, health is a little bit of an issue. Do you get Christian McCaffrey back this week? That would be fantastic if you
Would
do.
you play him if you did?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. If he's back to play.
Okay.
Yes. It's not like he's coming back from a devastating injury that required surgery. He played in the Super Bowl. I mean, he just has had, I don't know, calf soreness.
I guess.
You got to think it's some Achilles thing they were worried about. Other running backs to roll with, J.K. Dobbins having a great year. Chuba Hubbard's basically a weekly start at this point. I like Tyrone Tracy of the Giants as well against Carolina. Kareem Hunt is a weekly start. They give the guy 100 carries every game. Doesn't matter, they don't go for far. They give it to him
every red zone.
Every single game. Yes, every red zone. You got to play him. Wide receivers, here's where the injuries are. Is Nico Collins going to be back? Is A.J. Brown going to play? Is C.D. Lamb going to play? Is Drake London going to play? Is Debo going to play? Those are the things that you're looking at there. Now, receivers who you want to pick up and maybe have to pick up and play, Quentin Johnston, Xavier Legette. He's got 4 touchdowns already. I've liked him a great deal. Demarcus Robinson coming off that 2-touchdown game, somebody to look at as well. Jalen Tolbert, especially in the event that you do not get CeeDee Lamb. Westbrook Akine in Tennessee has caught a touchdown a couple weeks in a row, so he's somebody to look at there. Your tight ends for you this week, usual suspects, but Mike Gesicki, Taysom Hill, they seem like they're making plays right now. Ferguson was peppered with targets. Cade Otton has become a must-start with their receivers out.
Yep.
Bake's getting him the football very, very effectively. And then defenses. You're always looking to stream defenses. Eagles against the Dallas Cowboys. I love the Chargers against Tennessee. I like the Chiefs against Denver. I like the Bears against New England. If Nico Collins not back, I like the Lions against Houston. So those are some of the good options for you this week. And there you go. And right now is the time when you are thinking about how to what to do with your roster as you get through the buys. You want to load up your backups. If you're through buys and your starters are good to go, backups, especially backup running backs and guys that if they're still on the waiver wire that are one play away from having meaningful roles that can help you win your season. That's where you're at. That's what this time of year is. So load up on, a Blake Corum hasn't done anything. If he's on a waiver wire still, grab him. I keep an eye, not that Denver's been great, but Estime at some point when they're out of it, don't you think they're going to give him some opportunities in Denver? Why wouldn't they? Emmanuel Wilson, Cam Akers, guys like that are one play away. Zach Charbonnet to really helping you. Khalil Herbert now behind Chase Brown. I'd roster him. And there you're going to go.
Yeah, that's it. That's going to be the thinking going forward. The future of recycling is here, and Rumpke Waste and Recycling leading the way. New $100 million recycling facility, North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center of its kind. It's built right here in Ohio. Learn more by visiting rumpke.com. A rare First Friday edition of the Scores. Get your Sharpies out, kids. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Boost your game day this season with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Place your first bet of $50 or more, and you get $150 back in bonus bets. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Bye week edition of the scores on a first Friday, gentlemen.
All right. Well, listen, we're coming to you. Oh, baby, red hot.
We're back.
We're
We've
back.
been back, actually. It's been a
Last
like a
week,
month.
Bo, solid 9-6.
Stack it.
The big fella, 10-5.
Let's go.
That puts us now at a combined 22 games over 500. Back where we belong, folks. Both of us double digits over 500. You're welcome.
Putting kids through college, paying for second homes, vacations.
That's right.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Some would say our performance in the scores is why the stock market's up today.
That's probably the exact reason. Can't say it's not.
Can't say it isn't. You cannot say it isn't.
You cannot. Hello, Gibby.
Hello, boys. Week 10 in the National Football League. We just did guess the scores. Now the real scores. Thursday night football. Al, Kirk, Kaylee. Kirk doesn't have to go far. Good. Good for him. Although, where is game day this week?
Game day is in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, okay, so he's got to put a few miles on.
He's going to Baltimore, to Cincinnati, to Baton Rouge. So he's probably calling that game, too, I would think. He'll call Alabama LSU Saturday night. Yeah,
makes sense.
The Bengals are 4-5 on the year, but 3-1 away from that dumpster fire of a stadium in northern Kentucky. They are in Baltimore to take on the Ratbirds. Zagura, you kick us off this week.
This feels like an outrageous number.
Same. Thursday
night road teams I don't typically like, but I mean, even I'm going to be feeling great about this, even if they're down 12 in the fourth quarter. I don't see them getting boat raced.
No, I don't either.
And because we're doing this now, this is just the real. Ravens win 30-27.
I could see it going the other way, too. I could absolutely see Cincinnati winning the game outright. They led the whole time. They were up 2 scores in the fourth quarter. It was the most improbable way Baltimore won in Cincinnati. We saw Baltimore here 2 weeks ago, and we lit them up with the help of divine intervention.
Yeah, they don't have a good
above,
pass defense.
But their pass defense isn't great. Burrow's spinning it at a high level.
Though.
No Higgins, but I think Burton is coming back after getting chastised.
Oh.
So potentially there's
and Gesicki?
And Gesicki's coming. I like the Bengals outright in this one, so same.
All right.
Onward we go from Baltimore to Munich. Munich. Too bad Oktoberfest is over. Giants on the road in a neutral field situation, taking on the Carolina Panthers in Munich. 9 a.m. kick. We always like that. Bo Bishop.
Are the New York Giants good enough to be favored by this over anyone? My hunch is no. That they are not. Let me just pull it. Jeez. God, they've lost 4 in a row. They beat Seattle.
Yep.
The G-Men did.
I know.
And us.
Thanks, Gibby.
Thanks, Gibby.
You're
Pittsburgh
welcome.
Peepaw.
Pittsburgh Peapod. Never can't wait to pile on.
Can't wait to bury the Browns.
Gibby, you're sussy for Russie.
I'm going to stab you in the throat.
I'm going to go.
Did you hear that?
I did. I'm going to go.
Have it on record. Good. It's on video and audio.
Sure, you're just going to sit
clear.
there. Dr. J's just going to sit there and allow it. Hate to see it. I think
he liked it. That's 2 on board.
First of all,
little schnitzel followed by a streusel.
I know for sure he's not on board.
There's no
Where's
chance.
the G-Man? G-Man's not on board.
G-Man isn't at all.
He's in a,
I like
he's in a meeting.
I like G-Men winning, but close. G-Men 21, Panthers 28.
I'm going to regret this. This is one where it makes absolutely no sense. There's zero justification for it. I feel like everybody would have to be feeling as you're feeling. And you know what? Sometimes everybody's right. But I think the G-men somehow are going to do this in rather dominant fashion. G-men 7, Carolina 0.
Oh, baby. That'd be a beautiful game to watch.
That'd be a lot of fun.
To the 1 o'clock slate, Week 10 in the National Football League, the New England Patriots, they really should be 3-6 after somehow not beating the Nash-Tucky Titans. The Patriots on the road in Chicago. The Bears 0-4 away from home, but at the Spaceship, they are 4-0. Maybe a little home cooking here. Nathan.
This feels like the Bears should demolish them. Their defense is excellent. They've just been dreadful. How about this 3 straight games with 6-point lines? I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
Bears 23, New England 20.
Same but different. Last couple of times at home, Bears buried the Panthers, buried the Jaguars. I think they get a little home cooking, get right. This is one where I think most people probably thinking how you are. How are they 6 points better than anybody?
And Eberflus, has he lost the team?
I know.
I don't know.
Maybe we're overthinking all of it. I'll probably end up regretting this like you regret the Giants, but I like the Bears 31-17.
Or you could be right on both.
Who knows?
So far, you're just taking all the points everywhere. Oh, no, I took one. We each have taken the points twice and not once.
Yep.
Next up, the Fighting Yellowstones are back in Indy, and on the day that Yellowstone returns, the Yellowstones play host to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills 7-2, winners of 4 in a row, rolling into Indy, Bo Bishop.
I'm just not going to think it. Buffalo's really good. I don't know why it's this low. Give me the Bills. I'm going to take it as a gift. Bills, huge.
97%.
Oh, I'm sure.
Is on Buffalo.
Uh-huh.
I have no basis for this other than that.
Well, that's good basis.
Bills 30, Flacco's 27. I don't like this. Too much separate. We've already 3 in a row different.
3 different. I don't like it.
I don't like that at all.
Not good.
No.
We're out of our funk. We're doing this on a first
Yeah,
Friday
this
as opposed to an
is
actual
this is
Friday.
tough. This is very tough. We don't know injury statuses.
No,
we know nothing.
tough.
You know nothing, Jon Snow. Jon Snow.
He really didn't.
No, it turns out.
What a bozo.
Bum.
Melissa's
Still
little guy
bitter
who
about
gets
that
everything
show.
wrong.
Glad to see it.
Let's keep following. Do what he does. It's all worked out so well so far.
Well, we got this guy. We got a guy who's a raven with 3 eyes that sees the
We
future,
gotta listen
but
to these
still
two
doesn't
guys.
tell us anything to do
Wait a
about
second.
it.
This chick who freed an entire continent and's got 6 armies.
No, you
seems
calm
like-
down. Hey, calm down.
Calm down.
Calm down.
You wait over there.
Wait over.
There's a way we do things over here.
Yeah, you
I know you conquered a continent,
Calm down.
and you've got 3 separate armies of Dothraki unsullied ships, all of it.
But I think you should sacrifice a dragon going north of the wall to
And
bring back
dragons.
one of these guys.
And
Just 'cause-
dragons.
Yeah,
Dothraki unsullied and dragons.
that's right.
You will lose the people.
It's not very modern, but we're
if
gonna
you go
figure out.
take over-
We're gonna figure out. We're gonna figure out how to get a giant crossbow on a ship in water that somehow is invisible behind a rock, even though you're flying on a dragon.
Yeah.
And despite the waves and all of that, we're going to have created the technology to steady this thing, and it's going to shoot a dragon out of the sky.
Right out of the sky.
With one bolt.
By the way, even without the 2, could do it all just with 1, as it turns out. All you need is 1. You don't even need the other 2.
All you need is love.
That's it.
Love is all you need.
That's it. Nathan, you're up next here. Kansas City is 8-0. They play host to the Denver Broncos, who are 5-4. Time to start watching what the Broncos are doing, because that may determine in the next couple weeks if we'll actually be on Monday night, December 2nd.
I
against
don't
the
like
Denver
this
Broncos.
at all.
Yep.
The Chiefs just don't blow anybody out.
They don't.
So, ugh.
Can we guarantee Kareem Hunt will score a touchdown?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's going to score.
Pretty much.
That's right.
Yep. It'll be
I just don't
28 carries for 68 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I just don't know how Denver's going to score enough to stay within that number, but it's a big number. I think they will. I mean,
Oh, no. I hate that we're doing this. I'm going the other way.
You're going to go Chiefs?
I
All
am.
right, fine. Me too. Fine. I'm in.
I don't want to be responsible.
Yeah, fine.
I'm all out of whack doing this on
They haven't
first
blown
Friday.
anybody out, though.
I know. So why is it so big?
was just 9 because they're the Chiefs.
Kansas City.
You
Denver's
could also
been
see
gutless
them
the last
getting
couple weeks.
They give good defense.
Yeah.
They got to get out to an early lead.
Get Hopkins.
Hopkins going. Yeah, we'll find. We'll do it.
All right.
I think we might regret that, but we'll
Probably.
We'll see.
Got a huge matchup in the NFC South. The Falcons. I think Vegas thinks they're gutless. 6-3. 3-0 on the road, though, visiting the New Orleans Saints. New football coach, maybe a new team, at least for 1 week. Saints have lost 7 in a row, Bo Bishop.
Yeah, I know they made the change at coach, and I'm sure with the thinking, the only thing I can think here from the scorer's perspective is they're thinking you get a little bit of a boost with the new coach.
It says it opened at 1 and is now 4. I don't understand that.
Well, either way, we're at 3.5, and they're in our world.
Okay.
So give me the Falcons, 31-20.
Same. They just traded Lattimore. Same. They're not good.
No.
Not going to have Olave. They're not going to have Lattimore.
Nope.
I'm with you. Falcons. Ram it. Falcons 100, Saints 5.
Up next, the team of Zagura's Ute. The 49ers 4-4. Maybe they get McCaffrey back. Maybe they don't. 49ers are in Tampa to battle the 4-5 reeling Buccaneers, who have now lost 3 in a row since their wide receiver core basically was decimated a few weeks ago. Nathan.
Nate, he's back. And I can also see after he gets like 10 carries, they're giving him the ball too much. He wants him to get hurt. No, Kyle's very smart coming out of a bye week. Give me Kyle. The Bucs just don't have the firepower. Niners win this one bigly, I think. This could be 30-10. This could be a demolishing.
Same.
Onward we go at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, Evan Washburn. They are in Washington. Have fun at that dumpster fire of a stadium. The Commies playing host to the Squealers. Commies 7-2. Squealers 6-2. You're right. This should be the 4 o'clock.
This should be it.
This should be.
This
I
should
don't
be the
know
game.
what the hell the thought process was. Bo Bishop.
That's a good one. I'm gonna.
Oh boy.
I think Washington's just good. I think they're just good. This is right on how I think it's going to be. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it was 30-27 or 27-24, something like that. I'll go Commies close, 28-24.
Same. I like the Commies. I think when you get the big Hail Mary, and then they came out last week. Who'd they play last? And they just blast somebody.
Yeah. Well, they beat Giants. They ended up being 27-22, but they were
wasn't
out
that
big
close.
early.
Yeah,
They beat
I
the
like them.
Panthers 40-7.
This is a defense unlike any that he's faced coming off of a bye, so they have the advantage of that preparation. But I'm with you. I'm not Pittsburgh Peepaw, so
yeah, sorry, Gibby. I know that distresses you.
probably
That we
does.
didn't pick your
Quite
Steelers.
good with it, actually.
I know,
Just
I bet you're
fine.
very upset.
Now you're trying to cover.
Methinkest thou doth protest too much?
A little too much.
Too
Seems
much.
a little too obvious.
Moving on. Vikings.
When
6-2.
like if you were to tell like your family. So here's what they're doing on the show.
Here's the bet.
This is what we're doing. They are painting me as a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
No, like lover, enthusiast
of all things
like
Pittsburgh.
that's all I have hanging in my house.
Everything
Like
tastes
my
better.
father's like,
Everything tastes
I
better
will
in
write
Pittsburgh.
you out of the
tastes
will.
better in
Nachos, chips
Beer,
right out of a
stale
bag.
beer, chips out of a bag.
Stale cheese,
Gooey cheese.
some pickled jalapenos. Although I do think they have fresh jalapenos.
Probably.
Vikings are 6-2 on the season. They're visiting Jacksonville. The city sucks. The team sucks. Nathan.
These are hard this week, man. I don't know if it's
This
just
is
the
a-
time of the week we're doing it or what. I don't like any of them.
Yeah, these would be a lot of stayaways in the real world if I was allowed. Vikings, the Vikings are better. Jags, I'd almost like the Vikings better if it was 7. If that I know it doesn't make sense, but I would. The Jags have been frisky. They've actually been a pretty good spread team. They haven't been a good winning team, but they've been a good spread team. Vikings 40. Jags 31.
40-31.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought you were going to go 40-37.
Well,
I was going to be all over
I
you.
changed my mind. Last second.
This is going to be the worst week of all time. We're both going to go 3-13. All of the gains are going to go to hell. I like the Jaguars to lose closer. 41-38 Vikings.
Ugh.
Back to the AFC we go. 4 o'clock slate. The Tennessee Titans off of that win over New England. 2-6 on the football season, visiting SoFi and the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers 5-3 now. Bo Bishop.
Chargers good.
They are good.
Chargers by $1 billion.
Same.
Simple enough.
This one says it moved from 3.5 to 7.
Who's starting there?
I don't know.
How does it start there?
I don't get it.
Not sure. America's Game of the Week. Gross. Dallas is 3-5.
This is the week of huge home dogs.
Huge home dogs. Yeah.
That's why it's so weird this
Cowboys
Yeah.
hosting Fly. Eagles fly, Nathan.
I mean, it just seems so easy and obvious. For some reason, I just don't think it's going to be that easy. I have no doubt they're going to win.
Who's quarterbacking? Is it Trey Lance?
Cooper Rush.
How bad is Trey Lance
Very.
that he cannot be the backup quarterback on a team that's lost 3 in a row? He was the former second pick overall in the
Top
draft?
3, I think, yeah.
Top 3 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And they see so little of him in practice that he can't even start this game.
That's right. That's right.
This one, I think Dallas is a mess. I think Jarrah has lost it. Dak on IR. We're trading for receivers. What a mess.
Trading for no-name receiver.
I think this is one of the Cowboy quarterbacks on the call, isn't it? Yep, Romo. I think Romo is going to be in a very awkward position of having to stand up for his boy, who's like a father to him. Fly, Eagles, fly. Huge. I think it's going to be a dud. I think it's like 30-10 in the third quarter.
It is. And then they're going to pull the starters. And then it's going to become 30-17.
Oh, no.
And then it's going to
Little
be
Cooper
30-24 on a meaningless touchdown to CeeDee Lamb if he's out there and Jake Ferguson if not.
I hate how opposite we are. I really hate it. We rarely do it like this. But
Yeah.
it's
Well,
been
these
almost,
it's also
crazy.
it's too early. It's
Too early in the
impossible
week.
to do
Too
what we're
early
doing.
in the week.
Final late afternoon game matches the second-place team in the AFC East, the 3-6 New York Football Jets, heading west to Arizona to battle the first-place Arizona Cardinals. Bo Bishop.
3-6 Jets. I think you go first on this one.
What's going on out there?
I have no idea.
I don't know. We got cameras and we got directors.
Oh, man. Boy, do we.
We got directors.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Ahoy, polloi.
Oh, Hard Knocks?
No.
No. Nope.
No. No.
Not Hard Knocks.
I like Arizona.
I do too. Drew Petzing. Come on, young Drew.
The Jets have to be able to beat somebody, though. Didn't they just win?
They did.
Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Brees. It just feels like they're better. I don't know. I have no. It's Wednesday. I have no feel for this. Cards 30, Jets 29.
Same.
All right. Nice.
At least your guys are right on that one.
Well, I don't know if
We
we
don't
will be or
right
not.
at all. We have no idea.
Sunday
We
night
just
football.
picked the New York Jets.
On the road.
Tanico or
to not
Tanatnico? That is the question. Leons at Texans. Shout out to the general. Hope you are well, Mr. McClain.
I mean, it is all home
Nathan's a
dogs.
girl.
Yeah, Lions good. Texans without Nico not good. Lions
Same.
huge.
Yeah, I think there's actually been – this has been a pretty easy score. Like, whatever the number is on Lions, doesn't matter. They handle it.
Yep.
So they handle it down there as well. I like the Lions big in this one as well. Give me the Leos. The Nico Collins injury, watch that, though. That'd be the only – I mean, we're early doing this, So that's kind of the only thing there. So watch that a little bit, but I still like the Leos handling business. When a medical mistake causes you injury, call the medical malpractice attorneys at 1-800-ELK Ohio. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. So much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Boost your game day this season with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Place your first bet at $25 and get $150 back in bonus bets. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Some programming notes for you tomorrow. A special tribute to the late, great Jim Donovan, the voice, as we will be away attending the funeral on that. And so we will relive many of the great events that happened and interviews around that. So you have that to look forward to tomorrow. And then Friday's Cleveland Browns Daily, 1 to 2 will be the Browns preview show. That's Ken and Gerard. Special guest Mike Hall Jr. and Andrew Siciliano on that. And then in the 2 o'clock hour, this Kevin Stefanski show with Z and Gerard and special guest Isaiah McGuire. We are back live on Monday's program. So that is what you have to look forward to over the next couple of days.
Yeah, enjoy the bye week. Bye weekend.
I tell you, sometimes you need a palate cleanser when it comes to football. You don't need to. There's nothing out here on this Sunday that's extraordinary.
Compelling.
It's Pittsburgh and the Commies is decent, but in the And obviously, you'll have fantasy stuff and all of that.
Yeah, right.
And,
That's
and
what
that
keeps
makes
it
it fun. But in terms of like, I got to see that game. The best game of the weekend is the Commies and Steelers.
He's just striding around. He's got his Gatorade.
He's got a little drink,
electrolytes.
little blue
Oh,
drink, fist bumps, points. That's what I needed.
Yeah,
I needed
same.
that.
That was
I
good.
needed that on a first Friday. That's exactly what I needed. Was that type of solution. All right, the next level is coming up next. We are back with the special edition of the show tomorrow and back live on Monday. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.